time now to dive into the upcoming events over the course of the weekend. We do it through a bookmaker's lens. We do it with our major partner here at the front office. I'm talking about TopSport. We're joined by their CEO, Tristan Merlehan. There is so much great racing going on at the moment. You don't know where to look. We're going to start with WS Cox Plate. There's Tristan. G'day, Tristan.
G'day, Jimmy. How you going? Very good to join you today and very excited about the big day of racing coming up on Saturday.
All right, let's have a look at Zaki, who was prohibitive in the odds a little bit earlier, but has just eased a fraction. How are you seeing it, Tristan?
Yeah, so this race has I suppose a lot of storylines. We've got a bit of an issue with a few of the runners now got to go through another vet on Friday. So one of those was Gold Trip, which was well backed, $9 into 10 back into 9, but it's gone out to $12 on the back of the adverse news today. We'll get final notification on that tomorrow. Zaki, though, has been easy. It was $1.80 before the run 2 weeks ago, but now it's drifted out to $2.80 when we open the prices post the barrier draw, out to a high of $3, just into $2.90 in the last few hours today. The one that's been backed very heavily, though, has been Very Elegant. It opened at $7.50 into $5, been absolutely backed off the map, backed at each price point, $7.50 into $6 and now into $5, the biggest go by a long way. You can see the run up here on the screen, which was the George Main in the wet. Now, I think the money's come for Very Elegant because of the rain-affected track, which may be predicted on the back of some rain expected on Friday night and Saturday morning. Very Elegant here, you can see coming through on the rails there in the red colours, was ultra impressive in that race and has seen the money come on Saturday. It did run again a couple of weeks later and had its colours lowered, ran fourth. And I think that's why the horse opened at $7.50, but it was absolutely truckloaded in that race, which was the Turnbull. And it was back from $2.40 and even money. The other favourite in that race was a little horse called Incentivised Jimmy. We know what it did in the Caulfield Cup. It's come out and shown what a horse it is. So I don't necessarily think that form line is something that we can't dismiss either.
Can you explain to me, Tristan, why Probable is where it is in the market, given the fact that had an incredible win against Zaki? Zaki at that point, when they did run around in the Might and Power, was about $1.80 for the Cox Plate, but I can't believe it can get $14 for Probable.
I'm exactly the same mentality as you. I think Probable is great value at $14. The storylines surrounding Zaki is, was it a one-off poor run when it went around there in the Might and Power? It's a 7-year-old gelding. I know those experienced campaigners, as I'm sure you can attest to, Jimmy, can sometimes have an off day. So when we see Probable here, it beat it on its merits. $14 it is in a race where if you think Zaki was at top form, then Probable should be, in my view, a lot closer. It's got up here. If you look at this horse coming down the outside, non-conformist, it came out and ran second in the Caulfield Cup there last weekend. It's outstayed that horse. It's to me is going as well as anything. It loves the dry track. So just monitor the track conditions. We've got 2 plays I feel depending on what the track looks like it's going to be on Saturday morning. At the moment, it's a good 4. If it stays in that range, I think Probable at $14 or $13 is going to be a really strong play, particularly when the focus is around all the other money horses. Zaki, Animo, obviously, being the young gun, the young upstart, they're all focusing on that. So Probable at the $14, $13, I think, looks to me enormous value.
Off days, I've had off decades, but anyway, that's something to look past at this point. All right, let's get into week 7 of the NFL. We start with a game here on Friday, our time, and there's a lot of interest in this one too, isn't there? The fact that the Browns were very poor, but the Broncos coming off 3 straight losses as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting game on Friday Night Football. We've got no Baker Mayfield as well, which is a really key change to this market. We see Denver at 205. They started the year with 3 wins. They've lost their last 3, as you touched on. Cleveland's been hot and cold. They got lit up last week by the Cardinals. They're $1.86. The line's into a flat 2. But the one I want to focus on here is the over and under market. It opened at 44 flat. We're into 40.5. Have a look at this play here from Baker. He throws this for 60 yards. Hail Mary play right on half time. I don't think there's going to be many of these plays from the 2 backup quarterbacks, which we potentially will have. Case Keenan comes into the side for the Browns. I don't think he'll be throwing any 60-yard bombs here to get the 7 points. I also see there's a number of players either out, either Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb, and also Beckham is doubtful. So they're going to have to win this game via defence. The Broncos as well have Teddy Bridgewater, who's on the questionable list, and Drew Luck may have to come into this side. So it looks to me like this game is going to struggle for points. I think we're looking at a really tight affair. I think both sides are going to be desperate to win. The Browns at the dog pound will be relying on their defence. We'll see if they can get the job done. But I'm seeing a 17-14 top scoreline. And even though the market has moved 44 flat into 40.5, I still think that number might be a bit too high on Friday morning.
What about the Chiefs, Super Bowl champs a couple of years ago? Mahomes finding a little bit of form as well, up against the Tennessee Titans and Derrick Henry. I I mean, he's probably put his name up in lights from an MVP point of view. How do you see this game?
Yeah, this game's a cracker. The Titans perceived to start slowly. They lost their first game against the Cardinals where they were expected to win. But we see what the Cardinals have come out and done. So at the moment, it's $1.41 the Chiefs, $2.96 the Titans, and the line's 5.5. A big number there, the total points, 57.5. But you have a look at the way these teams match up. We know how good Mahomes is. He's absolutely phenomenal. And if you look at this play up here, he can just pick apart defences. Now, the Titans' defence is banged up after a short turnaround there on Monday Night Football, Tuesday our time. They got a lot of players in doubt, and their defence is ranked in the bottom tier of teams from the passing side of the end of the scale. So you match that up, and then you've got a guy like Derrick Henry, as you touched on, who's been phenomenal. He's scored 10 touchdowns in the last 5 weeks, rushed for over 100 yards in every single one of those games. A play like that, 70 yards, you can't defend him. And the Chiefs have been very, very ordinary defending the rush as well. So you combine those two factors, particularly with the fact that Mahomes has got something that he wants to prove. It may mean the Titans are having to chase points. 57.5, it's a big number, but I see this scoreline being massive. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout. I think the overs may be the play. It has already moved from 56.5 to 57.5, but I think here there's going to be lots of points, and it could be a big number for Mahomes, and also Derrick Henry may have another big day.
Take a step back, Tristan. Have a look at the competition overall. Who's been the movers in or out from a Super Bowl winning point of view?
I think the thing that's been really great about this season so far is the big name teams have all stood up. We've got the likes of Kansas City, we've got the defending champs Tampa Bay, we've got Buffalo. All teams are expected to go well at the start of the season, and they are. They're all up the top of the betting. They're all around about the $6.50 mark to win the title. We've got $6.50 Buffalo, $6.50 Tampa. Kansas has drifted out to $8 on the back of their 3-3 start. LA Rams have been a big go, 13 into 9, and Buffalo, they've won some games they shouldn't have won. They've gone $15 into 10. But when you're looking at a market like this, if you're wanting to have a bet, I think you should be looking at this point of the year at a team that may shorten in value, a team that you may get a shorter price about and not necessarily win the Super Bowl. But I look at two teams at a little bit wider odds. Arizona have been 31 into 11. They've been the big go. 6-0 they are at the moment. I still don't think the market's rating them where they need to. I think they've got a really soft draw. They've got a game against Houston this weekend where they're taking on Hopkins, or they're bringing Hopkins back to his old stomping ground. I think they'll put a number on them. They play the Packers next week, which will be tough. But the next 4 or 5 games see them take on teams they should beat, and they should start favourites. They could easily be 10-1, 11-1, something like that when they get to the business end, and they'll be a lot shorter in the betting. So you might be able to do something with that ticket. Same as the Chargers, $20 about the Chargers at the moment. They had a rough loss last week against the Ravens. They'll go in. Justin Herbert's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, in my opinion. I think he's going to come back, reset after the bye. They've got 4 winnable games. I expect him to go 3-1, maybe 4-0. I don't think you'll be getting $20 in a month's time. I think they're 2 smart plays if you're looking ahead deeper into the season.
Yeah, my Seahawks struggling there with Russell Wilson and his injury anyway. Go Michael Dixon, the local lad. We want to see him do well also. Hey, you've taken us racing. You've taken us to the NFL. We've got a T20 World Cup coming up very shortly, and I know you guys have got heaps of markets on these matches and indeed the tournament proper. What have you got for the viewers today, Tristan?
Yeah, the cricket's one of the markets we really pride ourselves on. Obviously, the World Cup starts Saturday night, or the season proper it does anyway, with Australia taking on South Africa there. Got some tense qualifiers coming up where there's a few teams still in contention, but we pride ourselves on the cricket. We offer over 260 markets on literally every game of the World Cup. So if you like your cricket, jump on there. But one of the markets I want to discuss today is a bit of a more obscure one. We've been offering the top batsman markets for all of the teams for the duration of the tournament. And you look at the Indian market, you look at the likes of Virat Kohli, KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma. They're the 3 big names in that side. Kohli $2.80, Rahul $3.50 and Sharma $3.80. To me, I think they're all a little bit of unders because of the fact that Kohli's not in great form. We all know what he can do on the big stage. We know he can lift. But I think there's a player here at the $7, $9 mark that's next on the rung of betting, Kishan for the Indians. Ishan Kishan. He's coming off the back of 3 back-to-back 50s. He's got 80 in the in the IPL Grand Final. He got 70 in the semi-final. He knows how to score on the big stage. And one thing I think you can attest to, Jimmy, when a player doesn't need to bat in a warm-up, I think that's a great sign. I think his position's very secure. I think he should be a lot tighter in the betting than the other 3 we just touched on. I think he should be around about that $5 mark. I think he's worth a little investment because one thing for sure, if India are safe and secure, they'll be resting the likes of a Kohli as opposed to Kishan, a young wicketkeeper batsman that's coming through the ranks. So I just think at that value, you might get a little play there and you might start a bit shorter once the whips are cracking in the final.
Hardik Pandya, not on that screen there, $21 I think. He is a superstar. That man, he was great to watch in some of the short form cricket that we had out here in Australia last season. Fantastic, Tristan. Thank you very much. On behalf of the viewers, make sure you check out topsport.com.au, and we'll, of course, chat this time next week.
Chat next week. Enjoy being involved, and talk to you next week.